His album's not a classic.
It's a really good album, man. I don't know how you like that versus French, but neither here nor there.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like anything this guy talks about has to be compared to French these days.
Man, French is a 5-micer, man.
Oh man, he clearly don't believe that, man.
Stop it, man.
He wants to be controversial, man.
Yeah,
I like French.
Nah, I don't dislike the album, but it sounds like every other French album.
I mean, I clearly remember riding with this guy, and he was like, "French is not flowing, but he's trying."
Hey. I mean, he's not trying. I heard he's not trying to flow.
It can't be a classic if a guy is trying.
Nah, he corrected me when I was like, "So you said French was spitting?" He was like, "No."
Yeah, I remember that too.
I did not say he was spitting.
Yeah, I mean, this guy helps French more than anybody.
Does somebody really got to be spitting for it to be a classic, though? I mean, why you got to spit?
I agree. You don't got to be spitting for it to be a classic. But I thought that your dislike for French was more based upon his rhyme. His rhyming.
I never disliked him. I just never really paid attention to him enough to like listen to an album.
Got you.
I feel like if you have to correct guys and say that he's not flowing and that he's trying, I feel like you can't have a classic with those kind of.
I never said it was a classic until today, and I'm not playing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Hops and Stocks podcast is presented by 100 Spoke Media Group. We encourage our listeners to drink responsibly. Please note, we are not financial advisors. We do not offer or provide financial advice.
I'm Spoke affiliated from the city of Jim.
Welcome back to the Hops and Stocks podcast, brought to you by 100 Spoke Media Group. This is episode 57. We would like to welcome, as soon as he arrives on the screen, our guest, Ishaq Nadir. We'll hop into Nadir's background here in a minute. Checking the post, man. How's everybody doing?
Good, man.
I'm well, man. A little upset about the college playoff rankings, the first rankings last night, but it's all good.
Why you mad?
Nah, we don't even need to get into that because that'll knock us all the way off track. But like Blast said, man, it doesn't all shake its way out, man.
I'll just say that it's some brand bias going on, man. I'll leave it at that.
You guys are supposed to be the biggest brand. I mean,
ain't that what he told us? Football. He said we are college football. We are college football,
and we ain't in the top. We ain't in the top 4.
So then y'all not
the bias. Ain't no bias towards y'all.
There's some shady business going on, and I got to get to the bottom of this shit.
Okay. Well, good luck.
Man, on a serious note, man, just want to send a RIP to Takeoff, man, and his family. That's just really, really unfortunate news, man.
Yeah, man. At this point, it's becoming all too common.
Yeah.
Kind of known to it. We just lost P&B Rock a few months ago, and now it's another one of the rap community.
Yeah, I mean, I think, what's the homeboy from New York? I can't think of his name. Yeah, so many rappers from New York. I guess that ain't a good description. Yeah. No, man, I can't think of his name. I want to call him Bobby Shmurda, but that ain't right, man.
What happened? Tell me the situation.
He had a song and he was on the BET Awards and he, was just doing his song about all these rappers that had gotten killed and they each had numbers on them. And I think it was, maybe like 50 different numbers. And I mean, obviously BET Awards was before PNB, I think, and before, obviously before Takeoff. So I'm just like, man.
Yeah. One thing I want to say, man, is put the fucking phones away, man. Like,
yeah.
When I wasn't looking for it, but I was exposed to it just because when I heard that, Takeoff was murdered, I got interested and, did the hashtag on Twitter. And I mean, I ain't gonna speak on, if you ain't seen it, then, on trigger warning, but yeah, man, like that shouldn't have made the internet. That shouldn't have been what his family saw, what his fans saw, what his loved ones saw. That kind of photo. Like, people don't have no sensitivity, man. Like B-Dub said, like we numb to it, and everybody wants to, do shit for likes and go viral, but that ain't it, man. Like, I'm tired of seeing black men dead, man. I'm tired of seeing it.
I mean, they're still having a trial, not trial, but they're still going through the hustle proceedings, man. They released like 100 exhibits from his trial, and then you got Pop Smoke who got killed, PNB just got killed, one of the Amigos got killed. It's just
Got Nipsey,
Yeah.
Young Dolph.
Dolph got.
Yeah. Just think, man, we used to want to be rappers, man. Like
The artist name was man, I forgot it again.
He came in like
I just looked it up. Joey Badass is who I'm thinking of, man.
Oh, I guess something happened to Badass?
No, he was the guy with the song about, the rappers getting killed, man, that he performed at the BET Awards.
Okay.
Shout out to Joey Badass. He got a classic album, man. That's
man, he does a phenomenal job as you.
Oh yeah, on the Power.
Yeah, he's killing that role, man.
Yeah,
I mean, but
so talented, man.
Yeah, but let's not bring the energy down, man. Let's get into what we came to do. How about
the album's not a classic?
Huh?
His album's not a classic.
It's a really good album, man. I don't know how you like that versus French, but neither here nor there.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like anything this guy talks about has to be compared to French these days.
Man, French is a 5-micer, man.
Oh man, he clearly don't believe that, man.
Stop it, man.
He wants to be controversial, man.
Yeah,
I like French.
Nah, I don't dislike the album, but it sounds like every other French album.
I mean, I clearly remember riding with this guy, and he was like, "French is not flowing, but he's trying."
Hey. I heard he stopped trying. I heard he stopped trying to flow.
It can't be a classic if a guy is trying.
Nah, he corrected me when I was like, "So you said French was spitting?" He was like, "No."
Yeah, I remember that too.
I did not say he was spitting.
Yeah, I mean, this guy helps French more than anybody.
Does somebody really
gotta be spitting
for it to be a classic, though? I mean,
I agree. You don't got to be spitting for it to be a classic. But I thought that your dislike for French was more based upon his rhyme. His rhyming.
I never disliked him. I just never really paid attention to him enough to like listen to an album.
Got you.
I feel like if you have to correct guys and say that he's not flowing and that he's trying,
that he's trying.
I feel like you can't have a classic with those kind of
lazy. I never said it was a classic until today, and I'm not playing.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's not a classic. I just had to counter that Joey Badass because that's not a classic album.
I mean, I said that in general, it's a really good
album. I think it's better, and I'm not like big on Joey. Like I listened to a couple of his old projects, and didn't particularly care for him. So when I heard this one, it was like, wait a minute, this is different. Like I actually like this joint.
Yeah, Danny Tote said that the one before that was a classic, so I listened to that one. I actually didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one.
Yeah, that one.
Hey Nadir, are you on, man? Are you with us? We see your name. All right, we'll get back with it.
Video just ain't on. Look like audio was good. But shit, let's kick it over to Mr. What's in this bottle. We got beat up. What's happening, bro?
What's going on, man? Definitely gonna talk about this one.
All right.
Got this at my old honey hole. It is called French Toast Bastard.
You got some founders over there.
Founders. It's pod favorite. It's coming in at 11% right here.
Hey, put the picture back up. It's like a little moonshiner or something, like a little sketchy dude.
Oh yeah,
that look like
popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn.
He's a bastard.
How long you had that out?
Probably like 40.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you had already cracked it. I'm like, man,
No, I didn't crack it. It was just sitting on the counter over there.
Gotcha.
It's coming in at 11%. Show that again. I already poured him up. So I can already guarantee this is a breakfast inspired, type of ale. It's a barrel aged, bourbon barrel aged Scotch ale. Not too fond of Scotch, but
yeah, I was gonna say that Scotch might make for an interesting note. I had a good Scotch once though. Good Scotch beer.
On the nose,
go ahead. Sorry.
On the nose, it smells sweet, maple syrupy. All right. It's got some punch to it. It's got a sweet punch to it. So coming in at 11%, I can taste that that syrupy, mapley taste. Definitely sweet. Maple syrup is what I'm getting.
Maple syrup's love.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. A little bit of hint of cinnamon. I don't know if I can take a whole 6 of this. Well, I bought a 4-pack. It's decent. It's a tad bit overly sweet for my liking.
Okay.
I quite like it, man.
On the back end, I'm still getting all that sweetness.
Blast, have you had it?
Not that one. No.
Based upon your reviews when we was at Street Side that one time, I think you would like it.
Oh yeah, because all the sweet.
Yeah.
It's not a bad.
I kind of agree with B-Dub on this one. Like it's a tad too sweet for me, but I like it though.
Yeah, it's a good beer. It's a tad bit sweet. It's not something it's not an easy reach for me. At 11%, it's cool. Give it a 4.25. It's not a bad beer. Just a little tad bit on the sweet side. I mean, it does exactly what it says it's gonna do. It's sweet. I can taste that breakfast inspiredness in it. Not too complex. I'm really just getting the syrup in it, in that 11%.
What the price tag hit you for?
15 for the 4-pack.
That ain't bad.
That ain't bad.
Wow.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. 4.25. French Toast Bastard. Founders.
Would you say the ABV was? I mean, ABV, yeah.
11%.
Oh, that's good, man. You're gonna enjoy that.
Yeah, I'll save one for y'all, man.
Sounds like a deal.
So what you
Sounds
got,
like
Blast?
a November date.
Oh
Late
yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah, we definitely getting together in November.
I'll say that. 26. What you got, Blast?
All right. I got a pumpkin porter tonight. Sticking with flavors of the season. I got an Alexandria Brewing Company Flesh of Pumpkin Porter.
Okay.
It's brewed. It says it's brewed in Cincinnati tradition, proudly made in Kentucky. It's made in Alexandria, Kentucky. I think that's fairly close across the river. Pumpkin mash with a Baltic porter, malt, hop, cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, and brown sugar. Enjoy this brew during Halloween and the entire holiday season. So it's just what we're gonna do. Well, Halloween just passed. Smells pretty good. I can't remember if I told y'all, but this is a potent porter, man. This is 10.5.
Oh,
It's got some punch to it.
damn. Usually porters be like what, 5, 6?
Pretty good, man. It's got enough sweet on it. It's not overly pumpkin, which is probably a good thing to me. But yeah, I mean, I'm tasting. Let me compare it to the notes. Definitely getting that cinnamon and that spice note, and probably the brown sugar too. Go back in for one more.
Nice mug.
Thank you. I like it, man. It's definitely a little lighter, in comparison to a stout. But taste wise, they definitely nailed the notes, and the fact that it's 10.5 is impressive. I think I would probably go with. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Oh,
Kind of reminds me of, and I mean, it says Baltic Porter, which is kind of that style that place where we all went to, me, you, and Doug, and we had those potent porters. Warp Wing.
Warp Wing, yeah.
Yeah, they got
potent porters.
Potent porters, man. I'm gonna throw it over to Mr. Toller. What you sipping on tonight, brother?
All right. Another pumpkin ale from New Belgium.
Oh, okay.
Voodoo.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to New Belgium.
Yeah.
Hint, sponsor.
Voodoo Ranger, Atomic Pumpkin.
Okay.
Yeah, I was scared to get that one. It has something threw me off on it. Is it some type of spice on it or something?
Chilies.
Yeah, that's what threw me off on that one.
Ale with brewed with pumpkin. It's right there. Hold on. Cinnamon and chilies.
So a special release on their can too.
Yeah, special that had a line through the.
It's a nice color, man.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice.
Voodoo Ranger been
nice.
killing it, man. For like as a house beer.
Yeah.
Nice nose. quality, man. You get the chilies like on that back end.
You get the
chili,
chili.
the chilies hit. That's different. Like I've never really had that experience in the beer. One more taste. That's interesting, man. I mean, it is. The pumpkin note hits well. The cinnamon hits well, but the cinnamon and chilies, they kind of like, I don't know, they're fighting each other for who's going to be top dog, and I think the chilies wins that battle because it's spicy.
That's the beer I was talking about even when we was on Upstate Boys podcast. I couldn't remember it. I said it had like a spicy note on it. It was that beer right there.
Is it spice off-putting or is it?
It's really not. But I would like for the cinnamon to be number 2, and not the chilies. Because the chilies, I mean, it's sitting back here. It ain't something. I mean, it's interesting at first, then it gets annoying. Like right now, I'm kind of annoyed by that sensation. So it's all right. It starts off well. It doesn't wow me toward the end, so I would probably give this something like a 3.75. But is it my fault? Is it my fault for not seeing the chili note? Because I didn't see it until I started looking at right before the podcast. So
yeah, I didn't peep that smooth disc though.
What is the 3.7? If it's hitting the notes,
I don't know. It's hitting the notes. Like it said chilies and it put it in there. You would think that the cinnamon would have more of a prominent place in the beer, but it doesn't. So the chilies kind of overpower. So I think I knock it down from that because it's not balanced to me. Right. The chilies is really overpowering everything. It's not going to be.
What's the name of that joint again?
I'm not going to drink it. So,
Atomic Pumpkin?
Yeah, Atomic. Yeah, I'm like, I'm trying to
let you know. I mean, I don't know how you saw the notes, Billy, because there's nothing on this front side. You had to be reading the side to see the chilies.
It was in a box. I was reading the box.
Yeah. If you like the spicy variety of beer, that's up your alley.
No, I don't.
Have you ever had Mexican stouts?
Yeah, no, I've never had that.
Yeah, the Mexican chili stouts it's usually like that chocolate taste, but it got like a little hint of some cayenne and chili pepper.
Yeah. It seems like it's gonna mess my stomach up. Like it's gonna.
That's why I don't food with spicy, man, because it's gonna do a number on your stomach.
I may have to drink something else to like wash it down.
Might need some Pepto afterwards.
I have to try this Mad Tree. I always got something on deck.
Oh, man, you're always prepared for a trash
backup.
Yeah, I got a little Happy Amber.
Oh yeah, I had that.
Like I seen
that. You had this before?
Yeah.
How's it taste?
I mean, it's nothing really.
It's nothing.
Hey man, that is the best backhanded compliment of all time. I remember when Chris first said that, he's like, "Yeah, I like you, D, but they're really nothing."
I mean, he would say he loves stuff, but it's really nothing.
Right. Hey, go ahead, E man. Hopefully you can bring it up on this 3.75. I'll just give it mine.
All right. So cool can work. Not much on it, but this is called Smoking Buddies, and so this is by Stillwater Artisanal. They're out of North Haven, Connecticut, and it's in collaboration with Tired Hands. I'm not familiar with either, but when I went to the Honey Hole this week, I said, man, I'm gonna try to get outside of my hole and just try different stuff, try to expand my palate. So this is a double international pale ale, lightly smoked and aged on oak. And so that's where you get the Smoking Buddies from. Checking in at 8%.
Decent.
That color, fire.
Yeah, it looks good.
You know what I'm saying? So I smelled it, and you can smell that oak. Like it's kind of like somebody was like smoking some beef or something like that, man, which that's interesting for a IPA. But you also get the citrus. So let me give it a quick taste.
Man, drinking smoking beef.
What's up, Nadir? Good?
Oh man, this is fire. So I'm getting slight citrus. Like the citrus notes is really faint, but I'm getting almost like caramelized peaches, like with some brown sugar notes, cinnamon, peaches.
Like Thanksgiving. It's like some Thanksgiving notes right there.
Bruh, this mug tastes like, it's weird because I didn't expect to get peaches out of it. Peaches.
I ain't heard that in a group.
Shout out to Patriots, man.
Yeah, man, it's really it's unique. But I like it. Like I said, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect this to taste like this. But once again, Smoking Buddies by Stillwater Artisanal in collaboration with Tired Hands. Definitely will buy this joint again. I believe I paid $5 for the single. I'm gonna get this joint 4.5.
Is peaches one of the notes?
It's not.
Not okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's the weird thing. It doesn't really have the notes. It just says lightly smoked and aged on oak. So I was with an IPA, I was expecting more citrus notes, grapefruit, but you don't get any bitterness. Like the IBUs are low. Actually, this joint, the more I talk about it, this joint's probably 4.75.
So, question: if the beer is fire, but what you're tasting isn't advertised on the can, is it still love?
Yeah, because in my opinion, if you don't advertise it, then you don't have a standard to hold it against.
Yeah, I would say yeah too, just for that reason. Like you can't knock it or up it because they don't give you anything to compare it to.
But if it doesn't hit any of the notes mentioned in a note that wasn't mentioned.
The only thing that was mentioned was smoke, I think.
The only thing that was mentioned was smoke and oak, and you get both of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was no mention of any fruits. So if it said, you know what I'm saying, citrus, citrus, why can't I think of the word? Grapefruit, then I think I'd be able to knock it because it's like I don't get that at all. Like I'm getting peaches. Like it tastes like it's like peaches that with a little bit like caramelized peaches with some like brown sugar and cinnamon. And like that's none of the notes that are on here. But you getting, and it's not overpowering smoke. So they kind of nailed the two notes that they give you, smoke and oak. That's why I'm gonna jump this mug up to 4.75, man. It's not hip to artisanal, but I would definitely cop this again. And I'll see if they got some more at the Honey Hole next time I holler at y'all, man. I'll split one, share one.
I want to go up on this rating, man, but man.
Hey, Tolls, on your brew, what was the ALC or the ABV?
Yeah, it was 6.4.
6.4, okay.
I kind of want to go down on this.
Like 3.5?
like
I
two?
was just playing, man. It tastes good. I mean, it's good for what it is.
So
they had a Founders on the shelf, man, but it was low. Like I think it was like maybe like 7 or 8. I'm like, no, it was 7. I was like, man, I don't think I've ever had a Founders that low. I've always had them in like double digits, man.
Y'all bougie.
They got IPAs and all that type of stuff too. Founders has a variety of brew.
Yeah, I think all the ones I had are barrel aged, so that's probably why.
I think I'm drawn to those.
But I think our guest is having some technical difficulties, man. Nadir, can you hear us, brother?
I thought I saw him froze up.
Yeah.
Hopped on for a minute. But we can fill time talking about Invisalign.
Part 3?
Nah. So B-Dub has Invisalign, and I just got it yesterday. Hey, man, the little extra little teeth that they put on them tooth, like the little enamel chips. Hey, man, that should be tearing my mouth up, man.
Hey, man, for like a week, I was eating like this. It was tearing out the inside of my gums.
Man, they almost force you to keep them on because you don't want to feel them little nuggets that you got hanging off your teeth, man.
So let me ask y'all, man. I mean, you guys are both, mid-40s, and you just had you're having some cosmetic things done to your teeth. Like what prompted you guys to kind of cosmetically, change your appearance? I mean, you've been good all these years. What's up?
I feel the joke.
No joke.
I'll respond to it. So for me, like at the bottom, like it was just a couple little spaces that I felt like was kind of opening, and then like one of my like this little left tooth was kind of appeared to be like angling out a little bit, and it's 100% cosmetic. And then I ain't gonna lie, it's because I had the money to do it. It was just like, okay, this I had the funds to do it. My insurance covered half of it, and I was like, the same thing I did with LASIK. Like, I got tired of wearing glasses because every year I had to get new glasses. Contacts really wasn't working. I had my motorcycle, so I went and got LASIK, but I still throw on glasses that ain't even prescription because I grew up with wearing glasses for like 50 years. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I still like glasses. I just got tired of relying on them.
Well, my reason was, the doctor even told me my teeth aren't bad. He's like, well, you don't even need them. Your teeth aren't bad. But I figure since we're in the business of being in the public eye, I'd invest in myself and make my appearance a little bit better. So, y'all probably didn't even notice it, but I had a little bit of crowding down here, but you couldn't tell. And I saw a lot. So
well, Carrie noticed it. Carrie at the soccer game, she noticed it. So you're getting your money's worth. The lady see it, so you're good.
Did she see that I had LASIK on?
No, she noticed that there was a change in your smile.
In your grill. His grill look good.
Yeah, but
I'm just wondering, man. Like
it wasn't necessary.
This some work I could probably get done. Some crowding at the bottom and things like that. But I didn't know what prompted you guys at this stage in your life to pretty much get braces and shit.
Man, it ain't see. Get a backhanded compliment, man.
Nah,
it
is braces though.
It
right?
is braces.
True story, but you got to wear these joints 22 hours. And real talk for me, it's like I read some articles where you might drop 10 to 15 pounds. I'm like, yeah, I can see that because I don't want to take these mugs out. Like, it's better off just leave them in versus like there ain't no more late night snacking. Like, because you literally have to like brush. If you drink anything that's not water, you got to take them out and brush.
I get around that though, man. Like, I'm drinking right now. Mine are in. Yours in?
No, I took them off because I sound weird with them in, man. Like I can't talk straight.
Yeah, it's definitely a difference. Well, I'm so used to it now, but I had a problem with taking them in and out. I had a problem with it because they're on those brackets.
Yeah,
and you pulling on your teeth if you don't pull them out right.
But, yeah, me and Blast all natural over here, man.
Great deal.
I ain't got false teeth.
I'm saying, man, like it's still my teeth.
Hey, man, at the end of the pie,
I told him yesterday.
That both gonna pull out.
My teeth ain't jacked up, man.
Why you have them go crooked on the pull out?
Right, they gonna pull out like.
Do we got Nadir on or? He look like
Nadir, you on, man?
Nah, he froze.
Getting some snooze or something.
Is he checking in from the motherland? Like,
nah, he's in the
stateside.
States. He's in Cincinnati.
He's trying to say either motherland has bad logistics out there.
Hey, man, I didn't.
Like their infrastructure can't support a good Zoom call or something.
Why did you ask where he was checking in?
I know, man.
I
thought Akon hooked him up though, dude.
Hey, now he looking at you. He froze. He looking at you.
Yeah, I saw that one time. I looked a little scary, man. Like, damn.
Nadir, what's up, man?
You
still?
I'll pop touring.
Right.
Just tell him to call in. Like he could. I mean, if we can't get him visually, he can just call
in. Ventriloquist, beat up. Just be ventriloquist style.
Call in.
He can just call in and do audio.
You can go off screen, beat up, and pretend to be him.
Hey, introduce me.
He gets started with the same link.
Yeah, I believe in the link it should have the phone number. Audio.
Introduce me, man.
Yeah, we have our guest here, man.
Who be that?
Let me call him, man.
So B-Dub, as an entrepreneur.
Well, I was in the motherland.
So, Mr. Deere, what you?
Oh, okay. You just having some difficulties.
Yeah, man. I was just disappointed in the playoffs yesterday, man.
He like who's questioning my infrastructure?
I wanted to respond, man, but I would have to beat myself, man.
I'm about to put hands on whoever responded about my infrastructure.
You going to any games this Friday blast for the playoffs?
Probably not, man. I was watching, what did I watch last week? Saint X and somebody. Oh, yeah. Man, Herbie's son is a problem, bro.
Who he play for?
Saint X.
I thought he was in Nashville.
He's in Cincinnati.
They moved back. Well, what I read is they keeping their crib down in Nashville, but you know they're renting or doing something down here, and yeah, I think his son too is like maybe a frosh or a sophomore because he was like second or third string. Yeah,
Hershey's like in his 50s, ain't he?
I mean, he's older than us for sure.
Way older than us.
He got somebody in college too. I mean,
I think he got 2 in college, and
there was one at Ohio State.
St. X.
Yeah, one went to Ohio State, or he does.
He had one at Clemson too. He was like a walk-on or whatever.
He got kids everywhere.
Yeah, I think the year that Ohio State played Clemson, didn't he have 2 sons on
Maybe
on the team? I think.
Oh shoot!
I'm like, when this dude grows up, he's gonna be a problem, bro.
What does he play?
Quarterback.
You said for St. X?
Yeah, for St. X.
Yeah, he's at the library, man, and I'm thinking their signal's probably not strong enough to support a Zoom. So
I'm just for the aesthetics.
Yeah,
go ahead and remove it.
Beat up. Go ahead and fill it in for him again, man.
Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do.
I ain't gonna mess with it because you might not. I don't know if that blocks him. So I don't want to do that.
No, I think he's called it.
He's tapping out.
Yeah, because he can't get in, so he don't know what's going on.
Let's see, remote.
Yeah, he's looking at us kind of creepy.
Man, he looks heated.
It's called when somebody saying something about his.
Yeah, that infrastructure comment really.
Right. He stopped like.
Okay.
Who's making light of my infrastructure?
Man. That's why we needed him on so he could defend himself from all these jokes.
Man, okay, never mind.
We're still on. Everything's still live.
Oh man,
right.
This episode has got to be called the infrastructure.
No, I was about to say, like, man, we didn't really chop it up like we was gonna talk about nothing. So the floor is anybody's.
Well, I would like to just kind of like, just talk about what he was going to kind of hit us with. He was he's a native Cincinnatian, and he moved to, actually the word is repatriated back to Ghana. And that's why I wanted to have a moment, because I thought it was going to be a real interesting story, and maybe we can make it happen one day. But just leaving America to go back to the motherland, I was waiting. Well, excuse me, I was wanting to see how that worked for him. But he also has a foundation that he was going to talk about. He has and his sister passed, and he was going to talk about the scholarship program that he's starting up for her. So, Nadir, man, I've known him for a long time, man. He's an Avondale native, and I used to work in Avondale. So we'll try to get him back next time, man.
I know in his bio it has something about mental health. And I know.
Yeah.
We chopped it up. We chopped it up about all the layers of the Dahmer episode. Me, Doug, and E on our little business meeting on Sunday. That little meeting turned into some in-depth conversation, man. Doug broke down some layers I had no idea. And I was thinking about this the next day when you talking about how when he was laying on the table and his face was like a monster. And like his father was finally seeing a monster. I'm like, man, how did this dude see that, man?
Man, you know how I saw it, man. I told you what I was on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was a good observation.
Yeah, that might be we had an episode about this that, for whatever reason didn't see the light of the day. But I mean, if cats want to if y'all want to get back into that, man, feel free, man. I think the points that y'all made initially and some of the points that we had during our business meeting were all very poignant. So
I think it just goes back to some basic societal norms, and one of the norms is to always discredit poor communities, always discredit what a black person saying versus a white person, and it goes back to just white privilege. So that was the overarching idea I think I got out of watching the actual movie. Now, watching the tapes is a little different because I did watch the tapes.
Oh, did you?
As well, yeah.
I think you have to bring in the homosexual capacity too, because it was multi-layered.
Right, but the white privilege still umbrellas that, because African American gay versus a Caucasian gay still being treated differently. You know what I mean? Because I think, and I'm just making a assumption, if that kid that was left out on that street or out on that stoop, if he wasn't of color, if he was white, I think they would have treated it differently.
It just goes back to show how they police those marginalized communities. I mean, they basically walked. First of all, they didn't even take the young lady's word for what was going on. A guy comes around the corner. I don't know exactly how it happened in real life, but he just tells them that, this is my boyfriend. The kid looks like a kid, 14 years old, walked him back into the apartment where he was eventually murdered. When two or three women were explaining to the police officers that this is a kid, something's wrong with him, whoop-de-whoop. And then they followed up on it, and they laughed at her, man. And it's on tape. Yeah. It's on tape.
But they never see us as the age that we are, man. They always put years on black people in general.
That kid was other, though. He wasn't black.
I'm just saying, he was other. Just but in general, just that idea of how we're always pushed up in age, and they're always assuming that we're older than what we probably are. I mean, it goes back
to eat Samir Rice.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's always an assumption that it's not a kid, this is an adult, and that's why the treatment comes so harshly, because they're thinking they're dealing with an adult and not a kid.
Mike Brown.
Yeah. No. Like I said, we had a really good episode, and I don't keep rehashing on the episode that was lost, but one of my points that I wanted to make, you know what I'm saying, that now that we are recording, is the fact that if privilege didn't exist, you wouldn't have had 17 murders, because his very first one, you know what I'm saying, he got away with it based upon privilege. You know what I mean? I mean, he was pulled over at 18 with a body in the trunk, and the officer, and once again, like, I'm only speaking from the movie. I listened to the tapes, and this isn't addressed in the tapes, so this isn't fact checked. But the police was like, yo, we don't want to mess up your life. We don't want to see you out here again. Go home. So you let this drunk 18-year-old drive back home, who could possibly kill somebody from just drunk driving. And he has a body in the car. If at that point he looked like one of us, he's getting up out the car. You can trust and believe he's getting up out the car. And the reason why I can say that is because I've been pulled out the car. Like, I've been asked to get out the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, this real life experiences that gives me the privilege, ironically, to say I know what happens when black
that Dayton came out. He was like, I know what happens.
Yeah, I know what happens. Like, it's crazy, man, because a lot of people that I talk to in different circles, because of where I am in life and corporate America and you know what I'm saying, where I live and things like that, people see me in a different light. I'm like, no, I am still from West Side Dayton. Like, I still have the same stories as the cat who didn't make it out. You know what I mean? I was fortunate enough, and I was, you know what I'm saying, blessed enough to make it out, but I still have some of those similar stories. Like, I've been profiled in suburbia. It's like,
yeah, I mean, to this day, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, like, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. It doesn't matter how you dress. Like, they don't see any of that.
It's funny that you say that, because I used to get invited to all types of events after work, and it wasn't necessarily on my side of the town, whatever that means to you. And I would always have to decline, because I knew what type of activity was going to be going on over there, and leaving, it just made me annoyed. And I had to explain to them, like, listen, y'all gonna be good. Y'all can be cool. Leaving there, something might happen to me on the way home.
Yeah. May or may not make it.
Yeah. And so one time we was at a little restaurant. I won't say the name, but we're all having a good time. It's a job function, and I'm drinking like everybody else, and I look over, it's police right there. They just looking at everybody at the table. So I immediately turn my beer down and I stop drinking. I'm like, shit, now I gotta drive home. You know what I'm saying? I'm the only one, it's like me and somebody else that are this color. So I'm like, man, I gotta drive home. So I had to tell my coworker. First I went outside and I put my food in the car, and I could see him sitting outside in the parking lot. Go back inside. Like, I put my food in the car. So when I went to put my food in the car, I could see that they were just sitting in the parking lot, just waiting. Not particularly for me, but just sitting in the parking lot, because they had people inside. I guess, I don't know if they were reporting to the people outside, but they were sitting at a table. So I come back inside, put my food in, and I just told my coworker, listen, in a minute, I'm going to give you my keys. You drive me home. I said, they'll pull me over. They won't pull you over. She didn't understand it. I had to explain it to her. Like, listen, this is what might happen to me. And she's like, okay. She still didn't understand it. She's like, Billy, I don't understand it. Just take me up the damn street. You know what I'm saying? So she got in my car, and she had her friend follow her so she can take her back to the restaurant where they continue to, drink. You know what I'm saying? But I had to cut my night short. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, because you have to worry about police interaction, man. When I'm on certain sides of town here in Nashville, I have a 2 brew maximum. And people be looking at me like, 2 beers? I said, yeah. I said, man, I'm not messing around on y'all side of town. Like, it's police at every single corner. And I don't drive no car that say pull me over. It just, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't want no interaction, because I just don't feel like, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel safe when I get pulled over. Like, instant anxiety, man. I've been pulled over in the middle of Kentucky, and I asked the cop why he pulled me over. And he was like, you was doing 95 in the 70. I said, man, I wasn't doing 95. I said, one, I don't speed. I said, I'm going to tell you exactly why I don't speed, because I don't want to deal with you. I said, have you watched the news? I said, he was like, what are you talking about? I said, you watch the news. Why would I be speeding in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, as a black man? I said, it makes no sense. And mind you, I have 2 firearms in the car, 1 on my person and 1 in the bag. And so he asked me, and I'm thinking, like, fuck, this is where I don't make it home. So I told him, I was like, I have 1 on my person, and I have 1 in that bag that you looking at right there. And he was like, he was like, license and registration. I said, I'm not getting my license. I said, because my license is in that bag, and I just told you what's in that bag. I said, so you got to believe who I am, because I'm not reaching in that bag. And I had my hands at 10 and 2 the entire time. Eventually, he goes back to the car, runs whatever, comes back. He was like, okay, have a nice day. If I was doing 95 and a 70, that's 20.
Your ticket.
Yeah.
I should have been good. That's actually reckless op. I should have went to jail.
Yeah, that's super speeder.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I should have went to jail. He let me go. And I was like, he had nothing better to do. But my heart is pumping, because I'm like, man, I don't commit crimes because I don't want to see the police, man.
Yeah. And see, that last part, man, that anxiety and that heart pumping and stuff like that, I think we have to deal with that. Like, they don't have to deal with that shit, man.
Right.
Like, even when we just passing them just on general going down I-75, the nervousness and the, how we have to rearrange everything is a shame.
Yeah, man. I'm like, I wonder, do their parents even have to give them the same talk? Like I mean, my dad to this day, and I'm, like you said, we all mid-40s. My dad, like, if I meet up with him for Christmas or whatever, he's like, all right, be careful, driving back home. And I'm like, man, I'm like, does a 45-year-old somebody else have to get that same talk from their dad? You know what I'm saying?
It's not necessary, because when I tell people that I have those kind of conversations with my son, they're flabbergasted. Like, where, really? I've never had to tell such and such that. And I'm like, yeah. And a lot of times people think that, well, if you just comply, you're good. Well, I've watched people comply, and I've watched them still die. You know what I'm saying? It's not even compliance anymore. It's a natural fear of, you have officers in neighborhoods that they, in my opinion, shouldn't be in because they're afraid. And you can, I don't know any job that you can do where you're afraid. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't want to be there and everybody over there looks like a criminal, go somewhere else. Go police suburbia, man. I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, middle of the fuck nowhere America needs a police officer.
Yeah,
Right.
they don't get the same rate. It's a different rate. Police in inner city, they get more money in general.
A lot of these police officers be really shook ones, and give them that badge, give them a little bit of power, man. They just abuse that power.
Yeah.
I mean, so what do you think about like Dahmer's dad? Like, do you think Dahmer's dad should have, you know, intervened, or do you think that he enabled the situation? I'm just talking about how fathers are interact with their sons.
You know what?
I mean,
I don't believe that he didn't know that his son was like that. He had to know his son was weird. He's probably weird. You know what I'm saying? The dad's probably weird. So he had to, unless he lived up under a rock or just parented his kid from a distance the whole time, he had to know something was wrong with that boy. He had a hand in that. I mean, picking up roadkill, I mean, that's strange right there. So he had to know something was wrong. And for him at the end to be like, you know, he didn't know. I know he didn't know he was eating bodies and doing all that extracurricular, but he had to know that this ain't beyond, you know, that scope of what he's capable of doing.
yeah. I think the dad just didn't want to, you know, his only angst was, is he a homosexual? Like, what are you doing, Jeffrey? You know,
And that was big back then.
right?
So, quote unquote, taboo. And then as a father, you know what I mean, even the grandmother thought that she could take him to church and exorcise the demons out of him. You know what I mean? Like, and then the police, when they go in there, acting like you can catch gay by just going in the room.
Yeah.
Like, man, you can't catch gay. You know what I mean? Like, but that's, and I ain't gonna lie, it shows how far we've come since the 90s, where, you know what I'm saying, things are more out in the open, things are more acceptable. But back in that time, in that era, it was taboo. Like, and I don't, man, them cops is just, I'm sorry, Milwaukee, I believe that was a city. Like, y'all at fault, man. Like, I felt like they kept making excuses for this dude.
Definitely.
They kept giving him privilege that wasn't even deserved, man. Like when he molested the 14-year-old, and the judge was basically said, same thing that the cop said, I don't want to ruin your life, so I'm gonna give you probation. And then that's when he just went reckless.
Well, you
From
know,
that point on,
they didn't even run his information to even find that he was a registered, you know, sexual molester. You know what I mean? And if you're gonna go out to a residence and there's a complaint and you don't run everybody's information, especially the person that is deemed to be the perpetrator in the whole thing, it's white privilege. All our information would have been ran twice.
yeah.
and even if we were clean, we probably still would be charged for something. You know what I mean?
I've had my information ran as a passenger, and I'm like, yo, I'm not even driving. What are you talking about? we need to identify everybody in the car. I wasn't driving. I got my seatbelt on. I'm a passenger. I ain't showing you shit.
Now that I think about it, man, Dahmer's father was in the wrong, man. He couldn't control his son, so he goes to send the boy to go live with his grandmother, like his grandmother could control him. This grown-ass man can't control his adult son. Well, I think he's still in high school. So he sends him to go live with his grandmother?
But no, this was after he got out of boot camp, right?
Oh, yeah, so he was an adult.
Yeah, he was an adult.
So this man's like, man, I can't control you. I'm going to
But
go
he
see
was
this
enabling him. He was still not making him, you know, well, eventually he did go out and found his own apartment. But even that, he helped with that. You know what I mean? It was almost like Dahmer was a brat, but he was like the worst brat ever. Like he was the worst treated brat ever in life.
And his dad live in Ohio.
But okay, so let me put this back on. Put your parental hats on. Just say your son or daughter was Dahmer or Dahmer-esque, had some Dahmer-ish tendencies. Like, what are you to do as a parent?
What can you do, man?
Yeah, because I feel like
Good question.
obviously Dahmer's dad tried to play dumb, but the question's on y'all. Like, what do you do as a parent if you have an inkling or you find out? Because it's not enough to just say, yo, my kid is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, all kids are weird. You know what I mean? Growing up, kids do weird shit. But if you have an inkling that my son or my daughter may be, you know what I'm saying, a pedophile / serial killer, what do you do as a parent? Because our nature is to protect our kids.
Well, he lied to his dad. He said, Dad, they're lying on me, Dad. Because his dad asked him, like, why did you do that? Even after he picked him up from jail and all that. The dad, well, according to the movie, we really don't know the true account. But according to the movie, the dad questioned him. And whatever Dahmer said, he kind of took and just, believed that. Because he was like, Dad, they're lying on me, Dad. And he's like, why would they lie on you, Jeffrey? Why are they doing this? I don't know, Dad. I don't know. You know what I mean? And that's how he was talking to him. So it's kind of like his dad was like a pushover when it came to really seeing what was true about his son. Because that would be your first, well, he never seen a girl around. So he was always questioning his sexuality. So when it came down that it was a young boy that he was molesting, I think his dad didn't want to believe it. So it was almost some denial there as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it didn't help that the judge, slapped him on the wrist. But he was spending a lot of time seeing him. So to answer your question, I guess, it would be some denial as a parent, and you would have to really face the truth and kind of like, put your, just, I don't know, you just have to face the truth. You would just have to kind of like figure out
I don't think there's nothing
what's best for society if my son or daughter is out here, committing these type of crimes.
It's not like you can have a talk with them like, hey man, you gotta stop killing.
Maybe some help. I mean, I think maybe some help after that first incident would have been good for Dahmer. Like,
I mean, you probably the only possible prevention would be to try to catch, whatever you can catch early enough before it progresses. I mean, I've watched a lot of you guys parent, and I'm a parent too, and I think one of the things we do is not really lie to ourselves about our kids. I mean, sure, we think our kids are, this and that, but I think inside we all know, like, all right, my kid has an issue with this, my kid has an issue with that. And I mean, with some of, like you said, some of the barriers that have been knocked down as far as therapy, it's not so difficult to be like, hey, son or daughter, let's go talk to somebody. And, it doesn't mean anything. Let's just talk. Let's just get some things out there and, see if we can find some tools to deal with, whatever's going on.
Right. And that's a good point, Blast, because even in the movie, Dahmer was saying, I'm not crazy. So, the whole mental health thing was still kind of taboo back then. It wasn't as in, I can't say in vogue, but it wasn't as natural as it is now to go get some mental health therapy or whatever, because
still low key kind of hard to get some.
I mean, you look at our parents probably aren't taking us to therapy. If whatever was going on with us, our parents are probably not, hey, let's go sit down and talk to somebody. Our parents are probably like, hey,
I mean,
you better get that shit together, son. Or
the era we grew up in is if you acting up, you getting some heat on that ass.
Some licks, buddy. Hey, have y'all seen have y'all watched the I believe it's on Hulu, called The Patient?
No,
That's another good one. It's kind of Dahmer-esque, but it's not a documentary. This dude is he's a serial killer, but he ends up, and this ain't really giving it away, but it's just a synopsis. He ends up kidnapping his therapist because he wants his therapist around him 24/7 so that he can have access to him to prevent him from killing these other people. And ironically, he lives with his mom, and his mom knows. And so the mom is kind of like all for him kidnapping this
therapist.
Yeah, because she was like, you have to help him. You're the only person that can help him. And like I said, I won't spoil it for anybody, but it's a really good watch. And just the dynamics of, I'm saying, this dude, he wants help. He's trying to get help, but he goes to the extreme to get the help. by kidnapping his therapist.
There was another movie like that, man.
I believe it's on Hulu, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 6 or 7 episodes. It's a real quick watch. They're only like a half hour.
It's a series.
Yeah, it was another plot, another movie like that where the therapist was having to deal with someone who was crazy, and they just had to kind of like just go along with it because they didn't want to be hurt themselves.
Yeah,
that plot is something I've heard before too.
Yeah,
but even like Dahmer didn't have the best nurturing. So they say nature or nurture. Well, his mom wasn't nurturing him. His dad left.
Separation. He had separation anxiety.
Yeah, so he wasn't being nurtured. And Dad knew that. Dad knew that he left him. But not to even check up on him when he did leave. Like, yeah, it's one thing to be gone and leave your son with somebody that is kind of unstable. Because he knew his wife was unstable. I mean, she was popping pills and things like that. But just to leave him, and I think that's why in the movie he breaks down and he kind of takes some responsibility in the movie. Like, man, I left you. And that's why he said he would never leave him again. So that's why he was showing him so much attention in the movie, because he didn't want to, neglect him again or abandon him again.
Yeah.
It's funny, man, because we've been hearing about Dahmer since we were kids.
Yeah.
But until now, you didn't really know the story.
Yeah, I didn't understand
all types of myths going on, and he was just eating everybody, and we didn't know until this movie came out exactly what happened.
I like how the movie's different than the tape. Obviously, the movie adds some theater to it. Yeah, and like I was talking about this, how he had to atone in front of a black priest. I thought that was pretty powerful. That the movie kind of like lays out, he's killed these black and brown people. Now for atonement, he has to go before a black priest, because in the tapes, obviously he wasn't baptized by a black priest. It was a white guy. But in the movie, he's being baptized by a black person. And it also speaks to forgiveness, how sometimes as black people, we always have to move to forgive. Even though stuff as heinous as what Dahmer did, there's still a degree of forgiveness that we still have to extend. And I think, the movie talked about that too. How forgiveness is, that it was hard for the lady to forgive, though. She struggled with it. She in the movie, she's like, no, I can't. I cannot forgive. His soul deserves to go to hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it was deep, man. And like I said, man, I know a lot of people who said that they didn't or couldn't watch it because they felt like it was profiting off of black trauma. But I think I was able to look past that. And it may go back to some of my numbness from being exposed to so much violence in, TV, video, social media. I just looked at it because I was so amazed that, this is almost 30 years ago. I was 30 years ago, I'd have been, preteen. But like when I mention privilege, a lot of people get turned off and offended by it. I'm like, no, it's a real thing. And honestly, if I had privilege, I'm not going to deny it. Hell, I'll probably embrace it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do have privilege in some areas. Like, we can go to our own different spots and have privilege, but as a society, obviously we don't. And people get turned off and they're afraid to accept the fact that there is this thing called privilege. It is a real thing. And in my opinion, it contributed to 17 people being murdered. And if anybody can go and watch that documentary and say, no, that wasn't privilege, you know what I'm saying? You probably need a hold in your head.
Well, I mean, they're privileged enough to say that they don't want to talk about privilege. You know what I mean? That's how privileged they are. They can say they don't want to talk about it. And it's called cognitive dissonance. So they can say, hey, this shit doesn't exist. I don't even want to talk about it.
I can honestly say I didn't have no plans on watching Dahmer, man. I seen the previews for it, not like on TV, but I saw it like as a new release on Netflix. And I still didn't want to watch it. And then somebody in a group text said it. I think it was Lutz. He's like, man, this Dahmer shit crazy. I'm like, let me watch it. You know what I'm saying? Crazy.
I think he said something. I mean, I think they were delicate as far as the violence that they actually.
Yeah, it wasn't brutal.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were just showing him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hacking people up.
Hacking people up. And,
Yeah.
it was subtle. It was, I guess it was as sensitive as they can make it. But, when he's sitting there putting grease in the pan and, that's somebody's liver, I mean.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I don't think they showed him killing anybody.
I think so. I mean, the drug.
Well, the guy with the weight.
Yeah, the long hair, the hippie kind of looking dude. And that's why I was telling people, like, man, it's not gruesome. I'm like, but obviously you know what happened because you know the story. So obviously someone died, but I don't know if that was intentional to make him more humane. You know what I'm saying? Or was that intentional so that more people could kind of stick to, because a lot of people turn off that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're like, I ain't watching, this ain't for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas if you kind of smooth it out a little bit and make it more palatable, you get more eyes on it. And I do believe that the dude that played Dahmer, as well as Niecy Nash, whatever awards they're going to be up for, they're going to win. You know what I mean? Like the cinematography of the show, you know what I'm saying? Once again, apologies to anyone offended that it's based upon Black trauma, but they're going to win some awards, man. Like, you can't take away from their talent in embracing and playing those roles.
You know what? I think by them not showing it, making it real gory, and lets your mind wander and imagine what happened, made it a little bit more graphic, if that makes any sense. Like by them not showing Dahmer in the act of just hacking people up, and they just like, you see the before, you see the what afterwards, it makes your mind wonder, like, man, what did he do? And your mind is just wondering and thinking, like, it's a little bit more graphic.
Yeah, and I think to E's point about not showing it, maybe, there's two ways you could probably show it. It's like, all right, I want people to be horrified and scared, so I'm gonna show everything, or I want to have people look at the story, right. And develop feelings towards the characters, good and bad feelings. I want people to get that side versus, the blood and gut side or whatever.
Well, the audience, that's a good point, Blaz. The audience lives and sees and experiences through Niecy Nash. So what she's experiencing and how she portrays it and how she just acts the hell out of that role, the audience is brought into the situation through her feelings, because she's hearing it. Supposedly, she's hearing it. She's hearing the murders. She's hearing the drills. She's hearing the screams. So that's how we enter the gore, through her eyes and through what she's experiencing. Yeah. So I think the director, producer, they did a good job with casting her, because she did a good enough job to kind of make us feel exactly what she was feeling and what she was experiencing.
And to your point too, B-Dub, I mean, sometimes not giving you certain aspects is the better way to go. I remember, man, this is going way back. I remember when we saw Blair Witch, and at the end of the movie, you come upon this guy standing in a corner, and you're like, what in the hell is making that guy just stand in the corner? And your mind goes crazy. So I can see your point about, your mind is wondering, how did he kill this guy, or how did he, dismember him, or whatever. And sometimes that is scarier too.
Because you heard the thud, like you would hear the thud from her apartment. It was like doom doom, and your mind like, man, I wonder what happened.
What happened? Like in Blair Witch, there's not one monster.
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah, there's no monster.
There's no monster. Just like in Jason, you don't see Jason, but you hear that music, you're like, man, I'm saying.
But in the tapes made a good point, and I don't discredit. Well, I don't give it too much credence, but during this time, a lot of homosexuals were dying from AIDS, and they were just like, in the tapes they said they would just disappear, like they would get sick and nobody would hear from them or see them again. And they said they try to attribute a lot of the non-action to some of these reports or some of these cases because they were saying, well, you know, if they were gay, the stereotype is they had AIDS, so they must have died from AIDS. So when all these 17 men were missing, and you will even see, this is from the movie, the mom, she's outside the gay bar, and she's about to put up Tony's, I believe her son's name was, Tony's missing flyer. And she looked around, and she didn't do it. So it was also a sense of Black homophobia and her really not accepting that her son was, you know, like this. So, you know, there's two things, you know, even our community, we don't deal with, we didn't deal with homophobia well. And I think that may have had a small little contribution to these 17 guys who were all, you know, preyed on from a gay bar. You know what I mean?
That's the one that messed me up, man. Because that was episode 6. Like it's ingrained in my head what episode it was. Because real talk, like I was, and please don't nobody take offense to this because I don't mean it and I'm cheering Dahmer on. But I was rooting that he had turned the corner when he met Tony, which was the deaf guy. The deaf guy.
Yeah, deaf and mute guy.
You know what I'm saying? Because it seemed like they made that connection, and it seemed like Dahmer was actually struggling within himself to kill him.
He was. He didn't want to.
Like he didn't want to. And I obviously, because I know the ending, I don't know why. I know what happens, but in watching the series, I'm sitting there thinking like, this is his turning point. This is where he makes his change.
You hoping.
Yeah, you hoping that there's humanity somewhere inside this dude, this monster, that he can make that mental and emotional connection with this dude who told him like, hey, pretty much basically, I just want to be loved. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, be whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying, one night stand or whatever. And I thought that he made that connection. The next thing you know, Tony up out of here, man.
He was the guy in the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, I thought, and I don't know why I feel
One person
bad.
hasn't even seen it. One person on this pod hasn't even seen it.
yeah, true. I mean, hearing y'all talk about it, you know, I do kind of want to experience, but you know, I got my reasons for not wanting to watch. But
you're not big with on like gory type horrors type films, are you?
Yeah, not really. I mean, I've watched some. It depends on the angle, I guess, man. I don't know why. I mean, just for some reason, you know, usually when y'all throw a show out there, I'm like, all right, bet. Because I mean, usually y'all's recommendations are on point. So I'm sure, especially with y'all talking about the great acting jobs and the cinematography, plus all of the different angles that y'all have presented. I mean, it sounds like, you know, something that's a must watch. But you know, for whatever reason, I'm just like, I don't want to sit down and get into this.
All right, so let's because obviously we don't have that perspective. Let's introduce that perspective. Why don't you want to watch it?
Good question. I don't think I don't really like scary movies, so I don't think it's that with me. It just doesn't click with me. Like, all right, yeah, this is something that I need to watch. It's not like there's no intrigue for me at the moment, other than you know, when I hear you guys break it down from the different societal things that you saw, then that raises my level of intrigue. But when you present it to me as a story about Jeffrey Dahmer, which is, you know, a guy that we know that killed and ate people, just that baseline doesn't excite me to want to see it.
Mm-hmm. I can see that, man. I mean, like I said, I had no interest in watching it either until somebody was like, man, this is, I think he mentioned a specific scene, and I was like, well, let me just see. And after I started watching it, I finished one ep, I had to keep going. You know what I mean?
And that's the art of movie making. So these movie makers are professionals in what they do. That first episode is actually the ending. You know what I mean? When you watch the first episode, you're actually seeing his last case, and you actually seeing Dahmer, you know, everything kind of sums up in that first episode. So then then you're brought in, you're drawn in. It's kind of like a hook, you know what I mean? Like hook you in.
Like I watched Barbarian over the weekend, and Skip said it was tight, and then Will inboxed me because I said something on IG about it. He's like, "Man, I heard it was trash."
I heard it was trash too.
I'm like, man, now I gotta watch it because y'all said it was trash. But then after I watched it, it wasn't trash, but it wasn't exactly like stellar, but it wasn't like, it wasn't awful. But it's a decent watch. It's on some Blair Witch type, Dusk Till Dawn type of movie.
It's called Barbarian.
Yeah, Barbarian. I mean, I want to see Smile too. There's a couple joints I want to see.
Yeah, I won't be seeing any of those.
That's gonna Hollywood is nothing but copycats. So that's gonna be the wave for about the next season. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of documentaries and series on serial killers. I'm just waiting for the Alton Coleman. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what? Is that just a regional thing?
No, it's not regional. Yeah, it's regional, but so was Dahmer.
Man, Alton Coleman was in Trotwood, dog.
Okay.
I seen him walking down the street. I had to run from that dude.
Yeah, man, I couldn't go outside.
I remember the same type of atmosphere, but I'm saying though, but outside of like our region, does anybody else know about Alton Coleman but us, like in our region?
Yeah, I think
like when you went to college, does cats that came from out of state, do they know about Alton Coleman?
Probably not, because they weren't eating people, and I think that's why Dahmer was sensationalized, because he was a cannibal. If you take that away, he's Alton Coleman.
Yeah, or anybody else.
You know what I'm saying? If you take that piece out, if you take cannibalism out, because that is so taboo, that is so abnormal, that's why he became sensationalized, because it happened in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is the middle of Midwest nowhere. Like, ain't nobody checking for nothing that goes on there. You've had serial killers are sensationalized, I guess, unfortunately, based upon the graphicness of their murders and stuff and what they do. So Alton Coleman and what was her name? Was it Deborah? I can't remember.
Brown.
Yeah, Deborah Brown. They were just killing people. It's not like they were, I don't believe they was like dismembering them. They weren't eating them. So there's no sensationalism to it, but we went through it because it happened in Ohio. So it's like,
Doug, do you think Kerry knows about Alton Coleman?
He does.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I think he did work down in the Natty too.
Yeah,
it's Ohio. He would know. Anybody in Ohio would know, because he wreaked havoc in Ohio.
Bro, we could not go outside for like a.
I saw him, man, and no one won't believe it.
You saw him?
I mean, everybody kind of went past.
Yeah, yes, man.
I didn't hear him say that.
He had on what he had on was like overalls. He said he had overalls on. I was leaving my cousin's house on Fairgrove Way. I was walking home. I turned around. I seen him. He had an afro. He had overalls on and a white shirt. Dude, I started jetting.
Hey man,
nobody believe me.
Hey man, because somebody in my neighborhood said the same thing. He's like, man, I saw Coleman. I was like, I saw Coleman. He's like, yeah. He said he was walking up the street, blah, blah, blah. And dude said he said something to him. He's like, yeah, I'm the Coleman. I'm like, oh.
You can't believe that. You can't believe that.
I'm like, okay. So you saw a dude and you said what's up to him. He's like, yeah, I'm the Coleman. Like, what does that mean?
So
it's almost like I'm the Yoba, but I'm the Yoba happened.
Man, growing up, I lived in North Crest Gardens, which is so you got Northland and then you got North Crest. They were separated by a fence. Northland's obviously more people know about Northland and North Crest. I think North Crest is called Eagle Ridge or something like that. Allegedly, he was spotted like in our neighborhood. Man, we were locked down. Like, you couldn't go outside. Like, my mom wouldn't let nobody out. Like, kids could not go outside because it was like Alton Coleman has been spotted in our project, and it was like, yeah, everybody inside. It was crazy because I'm young, so I don't understand what's going on. Like, it's summertime. I want to go play.
Yeah.
Nah, you're not going outside because there's a serial killer running around. And as you get older, and then you start realizing, like, oh, a real serial killer. Like, this dude went on, you know what I'm saying, a spree.
Hey, B-Dub, Marcus from down here, he talked about, a similar experience to ours about having to be inside and stuff like that. So, yeah, he was definitely causing havoc in Ohio and Cincinnati and Dayton.
Yeah.
Hey, the DC sniper had you scared to drive down the highway.
Oh, man, DC Sniper was wild.
Yeah,
because you know what? Let me tell you why the DC Sniper was so, for lack of better words, fascinating to me. Because I would have bet.
Hold on. I think you're fascinated by this stuff in general, man.
Probably, I am.
Some people are, man. I have a friend,
but it's not a. So there's some people that are fascinated. I think there's a difference between like fascination and obsession. I don't sit around.
You know what you did over the weekend when you was arresting somebody.
When you were sit around like I don't watch a bunch of like serial killer docs. But I am fascinated by the human psyche and how people think and how people do shit. And so for the DC Sniper, the reason why I thought that was fascinating, because I ain't gonna lie, man, for the longest, and y'all probably agree, nobody thought that dude was gonna be black.
Yeah, it was.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying that I was fascinated by, is the fact that when this story first broke, I would have bet my bottom dollar there's some white dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you never thought that it's this dude, and you know what I'm saying?
I knew he was black when they found out he was in a Caprice, in the back of a Caprice. I knew he was black.
Well, I mean, he was caught at that point.
They kind of gave it away when he was like, he's in a Chevy. Like, okay, now we know he's black.
He was in a white Chevy. Photo.
The car we're looking for is a box Chevy. That's all.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. This dude's from the West Side.
I am the Coleman
here.
This dude said, "I'm the Coleman."
Hey,
I'm the Coleman.
That's the title of the episode. I am the Coleman.
I am the Coleman. Hey,
all right, peace, y'all.
We are the Colemans. Out.
Oh. Be a shell of a man if we ever depart. From my heart to I'm riding with you. I'm riding with you.
Podcast is presented by Hunter Spoke Media Group. We encourage our listeners to drink responsibly. Please note, we are not financial advisors. We do not offer or provide financial advice. Trademark copyrighted by Hunter Spoke Media Group.